Texas. Winds are whipping in San Antonio right now. High winds could get as strong as 35 miles per hour. Taking a live look at the active radar, we're already seeing sleet in the hill country where we're expecting the hardest hit of winter weather. Tonight, team coverage. We have 3 meteorologists tracking the storm. Jeremy Baker joins us from Kerrville. Ryan Shopta has timing on everything we expect, and Weather Chief Bill Taylor with live conditions and what to expect overnight. Plus, a squad of reporters are out live. Matt Houston with an eye on your power, Elisa Nieves on how to get warm, and Henry Ramos with help on dealing with flashbacks of last February. We start in the Weather Center. Bill Taylor, it'll be the coldest night so far this season.
It really will, as temperatures are going to go down into the teens. Wind chills are going to go single digits. That won't be tonight. What we're going to focus on tonight is precipitation. Let's get right to the radar and show you that it's been light rain in San Antonio, but we're already starting to see some signs of sleet across the hill country. For the most part, it's been just a few little pockets out to the west. It's been near Harper. If you know where that is, it's going to be west of Kerrville, and you can see it right along I-10. Very light sleet, the leading edge of what would be turning over from light rain into sleet. So it will be several hours before we start seeing some bigger impacts, but it's in those hours the temperatures will continue to gradually fall. Right now, 40 in the city, mid-30s across the hill country. Rock Springs already at freezing. You can factor in the winds for the feels like of 33 here in San Antonio, mid-20s to even lower 20s already across the hill country, and that's because of these incredible wind gusts. Look at these numbers: 30 in the city, 33 in Hondo. Very windy, and it's going to stay that way overnight. In fact, expect gusty winds until Friday night. Light sleet will continue overnight in the Texas Hill Country. Windy and cold in the city with only light rain falling. 34 degrees as we get Thursday started. Now, speaking of Thursday, that's showtime. When we're talking about sleet and freezing temperatures, what does the timeline look like? Team weather begins with meteorologist Ryan Shoptaw.
Yeah, the leading edge of moisture is going to move in from the northwest along those wind speeds, moving at 30 miles an hour. And again, it's going to start in the hill country. So timing after midnight, moving through about 6 a.m. and through the mid-morning hours, where we could see a few snow flurries mixed in as well, but that's mostly across the northern hill country. Now, the forecast for San Antonio stays mostly liquid through about 6 a.m. with temperatures falling in the mid-morning hours below 32 degrees. That's when we could see it transition over. So we're expecting a wintry mix, a sleet, a freezing rain, where the rain falls and freezes on contact on cars, on tree limbs, and it can be dangerous out on the roadways. Now, speaking of the roadways, it can be very dangerous across Bernie, Rock Springs, Kerrville, and Gillespie County, where ice accumulation could be upwards of a ½ an inch, and that's dangerous. Now, if you're driving out tomorrow morning, please use caution. Be very careful. Tomorrow, not the best day to be out on the roads. Avoid any unnecessary travel. Things improve by Friday afternoon and Friday night, but Thursday is the bulk of the rain and ice accumulation here in South Texas. Sharon.
Thank you, Ryan. All eyes on the power grid. ERCOT issues a winter weather watch through Sunday. One problem during last February's freeze, ERCOT did not accurately predict the amount of power needed. It's possible the power grid will see near record demand again during this Arctic blast. Energy expert Doug Lewin says ERCOT adjusted its predictions this time around.
So they're projecting quite a high demand. Whether it's high enough or not, I don't know. I think they're probably projecting this pretty well, just based on we are not going to have the deep, long-lasting freeze statewide.
The power grid often operates on razor-thin margins, so it's likely the available power will be extremely close to the demand. ERCOT says it expects to meet demand and is using all the tools available to manage the grid effectively during this winter weather. Just days ago, ERCOT inspectors completed a check of the Browning Power Station near Elmendorf. It's one of the facilities that crashed during last year's storm. But tonight, the state and CBS Energy says the plant is good to go. Eyewitness News reporter Matt Houston explains the move engineers made so your lights stay on.
Every hiss a reminder. Man-made power still bows to natural power. The sound is compressed air. Bronick wouldn't run properly without it.
When this plant was built, the insulation was up to a standard that should protect it. What we learned during Uri was it didn't.
In the year since last February's freeze, CPS Energy has spent $2 million wrapping its pipes. Now, when the temperatures drop, special insulators automatically heat up around cold equipment, and sensors turn green to indicate it's happening. Other solutions are not as complicated. Kerosene heaters and hot lamps keep those air compressors from freezing.
There's still work to do, but I do believe we're in a better place this year than we have been in the past.
The state required electricity providers to make these changes, and CPS Energy says each of its plants meet new strict weatherization standards. But natural gas suppliers that feed fuel these plants convert to electricity did not have to upgrade. If their equipment freezes, weatherization at electrical plants can't do as much good.
We're kind of just hopeful that they've done what they needed to do, so there's an unknown there.
CPS Energy has more gas stored up this year, and it shouldn't get cold enough to cause major gas supply problems. The system is improved, but it's not perfect.
The changes you see here at Bronick are similar to what you would see at each of CPS Energy's facilities, including the one at Calaveras Lake. Now, it is important to note that CPS added about 150,000 customers to the list of people who would experience outages during rotating blackouts. Now, that should actually make those blackouts shorter because it distributes the load a little more evenly. But changing those circuits around means that some of you may experience outages if that is to happen, even if you did not last year. The state and CPS Energy do not expect they will need to institute rotating outages. As you heard earlier, ERCOT has enough power, it says for now, to meet demand. I'm Matt Houston, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.
We're taking a live look at the CPS Energy outage map. Right now, only a handful of customers are affected, fewer than 5. Even if all goes well with the power grid, the whipping winds could cause outages. CPS Energy says trees are the #1 reason power is lost in San Antonio. With the bitter cold comes freezing flashbacks. Last year, dark days and death. Eyewitness News reporter Henry Ramos explains how to navigate what feels like parallel experiences.
We didn't have heat in our house. I mean, I could literally see my breath.
It was pretty drastic for us.
February 2021, Texans froze and 246 people died in the state.
So our bodies are remembering that, like how cold we were. We were remembering, not being able to eat, not having things warm, the uncomfortableness of it.
This week's winter weather is resurfacing that trauma.
A memory of what occurred in the past can trigger that emotional response.
An emotional response that leads to anxiety and overreaction.
Only take what you need. It's not going to last. We're not in Nebraska or North Dakota.
Dr. Julie Strench is a licensed professional counselor and is with Roy Moss Youth Alternatives. She says, remember to focus on what you can control.
Putting water in the bathtub, having extra bottled water around, cooking your comfort foods or having comfort foods around you that you have access to. All of those things will help you weather the next few days without, a lot of distress. I'm not talking about no distress, but not what we experienced last year.
Psychologist Dr. Abraham Lopez with Larlo Behavioral Service agrees.
I don't have control over the weather, but I do have control over my safety.
And we're out here live on the northwest side. As Bill just mentioned, yes, you can see the rain is certainly coming down right now. And tonight we've seen the photos, the long lines at the grocery store. People are panicking. They're overbuying. Folks, we cannot stress this enough. This is not like what we saw last time. Roughly 26 hours of freezing, not more than 100 hours. And going back to what the experts said, we got to think positive here. But more importantly, you want to write those affirmations down on a notepad. Even something small like this. And I know it sounds simple, but seeing it in black and white can certainly ease all the anxiety that we have. So stay safe and stay warm. We're live on the northwest side tonight. Henry Ramos, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.
As temperatures drop, elevated highways and flyovers could become dangerous.